Insurance is a key growth sector, and now, after the pandemic, we've realized why insurance is even more important. Today, I'm in conversation with Anup Rau, the Managing Director and CEO of Future Generali India Insurance. Recognized as one of the Economic Times Asian business leaders, Mr. Rau believes in the human touch, which is why he's so passionate about and has the single-minded goal of ensuring access to insurance for one and all. Anup Rau is an industry veteran who has put his vast experience of over 2 decades in the insurance industry and unparalleled expertise in retail to the best possible use. Under his leadership, the company delivered higher than industry growth, improved profitability and productivity, and also became an employer of choice in the insurance space. Hi, Mr. Rau. Thank you so much for talking to me. It's a pleasure to meet you again. Let's start off by talking about COVID-19, of course, mega moment for everybody across industries, personal lives. How did Future Generali go through with the pandemic? What were some of the steps taken to changes that you brought about when the pandemic hit and during the duration of the pandemic?
So I think the most important step we took was the first step, which was to recognize that this would be a problem much before anyone else did. Mm-hmm. So we shut down our offices a couple of weeks before the lockdown was imposed. And so we moved workstations home, we had new processes. And I think that helped us prepare for what ended up being a pretty long period, over a year, wherein people are working out of home or hybrid at the best case. So in that sense, we got lucky. Our call was right. And then I think once you internalize that this is going to be a future, the remaining steps come through. Come through automatically.
So this was the start, and then towards, so to say, the end. So 2022. How was 2022 for Future Generali?
So both 21 and 22, the COVID impacted years, we did well. We grew faster than the market. We were able to accelerate our technology initiatives. Mind you, while in the middle of COVID, we were actually also going through a transformation on our core operating system. We won a couple of awards, including Great Place to Work. We are certified 2 years in a row. Actually, now it's 4 years in a row. So we did okay. We did fine, I think.
And what's 2023 looking like? What are some important plans for Future Generali for the way ahead, for next year?
So I think a couple of things that we've been working on seriously. We genuinely have a philosophy which is a little counterintuitive. A lot of companies say that we are a customer-first organization. We don't say that. We say we are an employee-first organization. All right. And then my fundamental belief is that in case you're employee-centric, I think being distribution-sensitive, customer-sensitive, societally sensitive, all of that will come through. But it has to start with the employee. If an employee doesn't feel happy or valued or does not believe that, there's a purpose beyond a 9-to-5 job or a month-end salary, which she or he is working towards, I think the other things will not fall in place. So that's the philosophy we've been expanding on, so which means a lot of things. It means what we take very seriously is our certification as a great place to work. In fact, for the last 2 years, we've been voted as a #1 general insurance company to work for in India. Last year, we were the only general insurance company in the top 100. Part of this means also that, we celebrate a lot of things like we had the Pride Week. And just a couple of weeks back, we also had the Diversibility Week, which focuses on getting disabled to engage with us as employees, as an organization. So I think the focus here will automatically lead to focuses in other places because people are passionate. In case they're passionate about what they do, then we do have other things which come through, right? There are a couple of interesting products we have. For instance, right from pet insurance to health insurance, which is all inclusive, includes the LGBTIQ community, covers live-in partners, which I don't think anybody else in the industry is doing. Again, a few years back, if I wind the clock back a little to say 2019, 2020, we're the first ones to actually look at mental wellness as the core of a product proposition. So a lot of interesting things, but then I think it all starts with creating an environment where the employees believe they can do their best every day and they want to do their best every single day.
Now, that's a very important thing and very much required. We will be talking more about that, but you mentioned the Great Place to Work certifications that you received. So what do you think strikes a chord with your employees so that, you've got this multiple years in a row, this certification, and like you said, the last 2 years you've been the number one general insurance company in India to work for. What is that magic potion, magic formula?
So I think we genuinely empower our people. I mean, we are not an organization which is very prescriptive. We don't prescribe. And in fact, as an example, even today we are a hybrid workplace.
Right.
A lot of companies and have insisted that employees come back to office, 5 days a week or 6 days a week. We say that, look, as long as you get your work done, it doesn't matter where you work out of. Of course, in certain functions such as say distribution or claims, that that human touch or is required with the customer. But again, I leave it to the wisdom of the managers and the hierarchy to take care of it. So genuine decentralization, genuinely no micromanagement, and genuinely, we are a purposeful organization. We are purpose. And we are an organization which is not expedient. So let me explain that. I mean, one of the things we tell our people is that whether we have an outstanding year or a poor year, we'll make sure our rewards are fair. Right. So during COVID, we went through with increments and bonuses like in any other year. We could have an outstanding year going ahead, but then again, we're not going to go overboard. So consistency, predictability, a safe sanctuary, our attrition rates are among the lowest. We truly nurture people, and we are okay in case people aren't able to deliver their best for reasons outside their control, and then we genuinely understand that. Having said that, while doing all this, we are also brutally severe on differentiation. So if somebody does well, the person does get differentiated significantly with vis-a-vis peers. So basically two things. One is create a sanctuary and differentiate. These two things operationally, and then obviously, give employees a purpose.
That's really important. I agree with you because if that job security angle is there, then the person gives not just 100%, maybe 110%. And if they have that passion. So I'll play the devil's advocate with you, right? This is insurance, okay? I know it's tough to talk to people about insurance. How do you manage such a large team and get them to be so passionate about insurance, to get them excited about maybe, waking up and saying, okay, get to work, I have a purpose to achieve?
So I think it comes at multiple levels. One is that, we genuinely believe we sell a product which people need and require, and then which adds value. I think it's not just premiums, and they're not buying protection, they're buying a certain amount of peace of mind. I mean, they're saying that let me sleep better if something unforeseen, untoward happens than this company. By the way, when it claims to, we are best in class. Our claim settlement ratios are the highest in the industry, our NPS scores are the highest in the industry. So, there's a commitment we make. Again, a proposition which we ask our employees to tell a customer is that we may not be the cheapest, but then the fact is that nobody's going to settle claims the way we do. And that's borne out by data. I mean, it's not me saying it or our own survey saying it. These are independent surveys by Medallia, which does this globally. All right. So that is one. Secondly, when it comes to products, we genuinely look for products which are good for the customer without worrying about market sizing.
Right.
Right. So, for instance, be it, if you look at pet insurance, I mean, it's a limited market at the end of the day. I mean, while we have done very well, we're very proud of the numbers that we have achieved. But the fact is that in terms of premiums, what is it going to do for the company? Maybe 1%, 0.1%, something in between. But, I think mazaya. I mean, a lot of people enjoyed working on the product. They enjoyed selling it. The premium sizes and the ticket sizes are low. Secondly, even when we talk about all-inclusive products, which include mental wellness, or they include the queer community, or they include live-in relationships, is that going to significantly contribute to my volume? I'm not really sure. But what it really does is that when you go out with a brand, the brand stands for something beyond just giving a product which generates volumes. So I think people genuinely enjoy what they're doing because they, like I said, there is purpose. They do believe that societally they are adding value.
Absolutely. Because these are what you said, these are not products that add to the top line, but they add to the quality of not just the brand, but the quality of the people that you're out there providing this to. In fact, like you mentioned about the live-in relationships or even the LGBTQI. So, talking about that, I recently learned that about the opening up of the family definition under your health offerings. What's the insight driving this change? How did that come about, and how are you seeing it make a difference?
So I think fundamentally, I think two things. One is that I think family has been defined by a construct which is maybe a few centuries old. It's defined by law as we understand it. It's defined by societal convention or societal sanction, if you call it. And I think we're being unfair to a bunch of people who may not really conform to norms of the society, either in terms of their relationship, their sexuality, their gender. They may not be binary in nature. And the idea was to, like we say, just do good and see what is it that we can do to get them all in. I mean, there's really no insight per se which tells me that in case you open this up, that, you know, that our volumes are going to go up 10x. And that was not even the intention, like I mentioned to you. It's about what is it that we can do. We have a chance to serve society. I think Future Generali as an organization has an ability to influence society for the better. We have strength in numbers. And then I think let's use that well. Let's use that wisely.
Future Generali India Insurance strives to promote a culture where diversity, equity and inclusion is embedded in how they work and do business every day. The company has a clear strategy supported by structured diversity, equity and inclusion governance. Reaffirming its commitment to promoting the values of diversity, equity and inclusion, the brand celebrated Pride Month to support the LGBTQIA+ community with a flash mob and Pride Parade at its office premises in Mumbai, Delhi and Bangalore, which was attended by celebrities and LGBTQIA+ icons, along with Future Generali India Insurance's management and employees. The brand also celebrated Diversibility Week with an agenda to encourage employees to experience the possible constraints faced by specially abled people on a daily basis. The initiative was aimed at providing exposure to the employees about various disabilities, creating a culture that embraces diversibility and recognizing and acknowledging the specially abled employees at the company.
एक नॉर्मल इंसान जो नहीं कर सकता ना, वो एक अपाहिज इंसान करके दिखा सकता है. बस उसको एक मौका मिलना जरूरी. फ्यूचर जनरली का एक इंटरव्यू दिया था. उस इंटरव्यू में ना मुझे बताया गया कि हम आपको बताएंगे. मैं कभी सोचा नहीं था इसमें मेरा सिलेक्शन होगा. गुड मॉर्निंग, वेलकम टू फ्यूचर जनरली. दिस इज रियाज. हाउ मे आई हेल्प यू?
When I got rejected for the 25th or 26th time, I collected all the data from all those rejections. Why I was rejected. You don't have to explain every single thing of your life, what has happened to you, to every single person. If you tell them the struggle in the beginning, already you are on zero. Your score is directly zero because you started with negativity. I bring all the positive things in front of them.
There is no wrist bone in my palm. I cannot operate much with my left hand. The overall experience is really very good. And my all managers, my teammates, they are very strong about me. They are very positive about me. So they are always encouraging me.
You know, I want to delve a little bit more on the diversity, equity, inclusion part. That's really important for Future Generali. You have a number of initiatives around that. You've done Pride Month. You've done stuff for last couple of weeks ago also. Tell me a little bit about how the idea came for these initiatives and what else have you been doing under this umbrella?
So there are two parts to your question. One is about Pride. The other is about Diversity Week, right? So as far as the first part is concerned, the queer community, I think it's fairly underrepresented in the public eye because, again, like societal sanction doesn't exist at this point in time to the extent it should. It does. Things have changed. So I think it was about bringing it to the fore, and that's what we did. It's estimated that the community is about 7% of India's population, and if I extend that logic, it means I have a similar proportion, you know, at Future Generali. Now, can we create an environment wherein people feel comfortable to come out at work? So one of the things we wanted was to let people be out, people be themselves in case they want to be. You know, without fear of judgment, without fear of prejudice, without fear of it affecting their career. without creating any social stigma, so on and so forth. So we celebrated that, and I think the employee response was absolutely fantastic. We had great participation. I think people had a lot of fun. And I'm really very proud about how all the employees took that forward. As far as Diversity Week is concerned, there's a story behind it. I mean, a couple of years back, I'd gone to this restaurant where the serving staff was hearing impaired. And a few weeks after that, I happened to go to this brewery where again the serving staff was hearing impaired. And what really got me was that in both these places, majority of the employees were hearing impaired.
Right.
You know, there were people with disabilities. And they managed to give the customers a great experience. And I was very impressed with what these guys had done to mainstream people with disabilities. Now, which set us thinking. So we came back, we had a conversation, obviously pushed HR, spoke to people in marketing, said that what is it that we can do. And I think the insight for us was that, look, I mean, one is that we don't look at people with disabilities as candidates in the first place, for whatever reason. Secondly, in case you were to get them on board, can we ensure that, you know, they have the physical infrastructure, you know, to be able to use the office as well as anyone else can. And again, so 2 weeks back, we had this great celebrations, great participation. Again, very proud of the fact that the employees wholeheartedly believe that this is a purpose worth pursuing and fulfilling.
Fantastic. It's really important, I guess, in this time and age to be an inclusive employer as well. I want to shift tracks and talk about the products, the solutions that you provide, the services that you provide. Now, one thing that we've discussed is there's a lot of innovation there, like you spoke about pet insurance, the focus on mental health and well-being. So do you think that these innovative product innovations are an important key stay for future Generali? Is this something that we can expect on the way ahead also, this focus on product innovation, making products that your customers will want, that are needed for society also by and large?
It's a question of a particular product, but the fact that a product in some sense reflects the ethos of the company and the brand. And I think that is what gets our engagement with our channel partners and our customers up. So like I mentioned earlier, I don't think any of these innovative products, and we'll continue to have more of them, will by itself have great volumes. But I just want to put it out there because you want to tell people that fine, even if you're a segment of one, a micro segment of just one individual, or, you know, or 25,000 pet owners, which is the number of policies we sold as far as dog health insurance is concerned, we value that. And we think it's a privilege to be able to run a business in India or anywhere in the world for that matter. And we would like to use the privilege well.
Which is very important. I guess, you know, taking customization to new levels with this. Mr. Rao, passion we've spoken about is important. But sometimes what happens in this, you call it rat race, or you call this hectic work life, and especially during COVID. What happened during COVID was your personal life, your work life, the boundary kind of just disappeared. It was one and the same thing. If someone has a lot of pressure at work and that gets pushed to the personal life or either way around, that person overall somewhere will be lacking something. What I'm trying to get to is, at Future Generali, how do you kind of help employees while you're helping them do great work at work? You're making them passionate, you're empowering them. But how do you help them balance the personal life also? Because that inadvertently will impact work life. Just your thoughts on that.
So yes, I mean, during COVID, we did have distress lines, we had help lines, we had trained counselors and psychologists on call who could be reached out to. So let me try and mention this was also there's another thing which we discovered. You know, a lot of women in our organization actually said that they wanted to come back to office. They didn't want to work out of home. And that was very counterintuitive, right? I think most of us would have thought that women would find it easier to work out of home relative to men. I mean, a sexist or a gender bias, whatever you want to call it. But then a lot of women said something very interesting. They said they want to come back to office because when they're at home, they have to work and still get that chai for the husband and do the children's homework. So their workspace is not really valued. And they said when the guy works, or then the husband, the spouse works, it is very sacred. Koi awaaz nahi karega. Nobody's going to shout. Give me my space. But and that's when he came up with said that that there's nothing 100% good or bad. 100% work from home, 100% from office. So I think you have to react to some of the. What I'm trying to say is that some of the stresses of the job or the pressures of the job have to be reacted to based on whatever feedback you're getting from a particular segment and try and address that.
For every organization, the change does come from the top. It's just about you set the ball rolling and how maybe it's carried forward and how much, like you said, you empower the people, the employees, etc. But tell me a little bit about your leadership philosophy.
So I think I'll be repeating myself to an extent, but I think it has always been employees first. It will continue to be employees first. I mean, so you have to also understand that I come from a sales and distribution background. I was a frontline sales guy, then a team leader, then a branch manager, so on and so forth. So for me as a leader, my focus has always been towards the team. And I think that's continued over a period of time. And of course, I mean, fundamentally also believe that there is something called work-life balance, but I think it's very abused. I think I can't think of anyone who says that, that I have great life and I have lousy work, but my balance is great. I mean, it is important that as organizations, we also create opportunities for people to excel at work every single day. If that doesn't happen, they don't have work-life balance. And I think that's often missed out because organizations, while being employee-centric, should not become a country club. And being work-centric, only work-centric obviously has its own pitfalls. But then one of the things we want to really balance is that we want people to feel a sense of accomplishment every single day. And I think that's important. Professional success is very, very important for personal fulfillment.
Very true. That's a very important, very strong statement there. You've had a rich experience, like you said, of leading organizations, and you briefly just told us about how you came up in the career. But what do you think is the key to your success? And what would be, so two parts to that question, key to your success. And if there are people out there watching us and wanting to make a career in insurance, maybe some of the people who are just joining the workforce, your advice to them. So two parts.
So I think you just do your best every day. I mean, you will get opportunities. They will come your way. I mean, I think over a period of time, everyone has the same kind of luck. And you will get lucky sometimes, you'll get unlucky sometimes. But if you do your best every single day, when the opportunity comes your way, you'll be prepared to take it. So, simple.
And any tips for somebody looking to get into the insurance industry?
I think most important thing is that a genuine interest in helping people and engaging with them. A genuine interest, because this industry is about making a promise in the future, and that's paid for in the present.
Absolutely right. Mr. Rau, absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. All our best wishes for the way ahead for you and for the entire team at Future Generali. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thanks to his foresight and willingness to embrace the new normal, whether it is the early adoption of digital infrastructure or technology, or introducing customer-centric product innovations, Mr. Rau has unfailingly tackled challenges head-on. That's all on this episode. Thank you so much for watching.